be thankful of our life because we only live once on earth. And last 2 weeks, we had Oka and Maya came here to give us sharing about marriage life. We also have session on singlehood, on dating, and all that. So today we are actually really blessed because we have Oka's classmate in NTU. So after Oka, no, Oka's classmate, but who took a different path, but both running towards God. So Brother Robin is, I think you all know from the Franciscan. So basically, I think today we are quite an intimate group because fortunately or unfortunately, there's Catholic Youth Day happening at the same time. So some of our friends didn't come, but I think whoever are here are meant to be here. So and also with your presence, we are really happy to have this chance to speak. So do you still need the paper?
Yes, later. But maybe I just want to share. How long do we have until 9:30?
Yeah, about 1 hour.
So maybe just one of you can remind me if we have reached 9 p.m. Then we can. Because I'm thinking I just share with you about some things. I don't know what to share actually. Until 9 p.m. and then after 9 maybe we just Q&A and then we see how it goes from there. Yeah, please, yes, that's my first question. Because I know Toby, Irma, Pina, and Devi, the rest I met you before, I think, but yeah.
I'm Ronald.
Ronald, hi.
I did 3 years ago. 4 years ago.
Working or studying?
Working.
Irene? And you're working or studying? Working. All working then?
All
Yeah.
I'm Andre.
Andre.
Carreta.
Greta. Terence. Oh yes, Gerald is in the youth day.
Oh,
Yeah, Aksha is his youth.
That's me. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So when I was requested by Fina, I thought, oh, okay, just sharing of my vocation story. But I have a meeting also with Toby and Irma. I'm not sure. There are a few things that I can present to you about religious life. But I would like to limit it to 20 minutes so that we can talk more about the practicality. Based on the question that was sent by Toby to me, I don't know whether, do you guys know the difference between priesthood and religious life? And like the story why there are people who chose to be religious? No idea. So what I would like to do first of all is like to present church history 2000 years in 5 minutes, if that's possible. Okay? So that's why I need like the whiteboard.
But the marker is not so sharp.
Oh, anyway, it's okay. I just want to draw a timeline. So we just assume the year 0 to 33 is Jesus' time. Everyone is familiar with that, right? Okay. After Jesus was crucified, resurrected, and then ascended to heaven, what happened to the people?
They received the Holy Spirit.
Huh?
They received the Holy Spirit.
Yes, they received the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is here. But throughout this time, from this time all the way until 300 something, the 4th century, Christians are persecuted. By the Roman Empire, Roman Emperor. So basically, if you are Christian, they will kill you because they don't like there is other god. Their god is the emperor. So being a Christian was a sin, so you have to die. That's why a lot of Christian, for them, martyrdom is the way to holiness. What is special in the 4th century? There's an emperor called Constantine. Constantine, he became a Christian. So when the emperor became Christian, so he made Christianity the official religion for the whole empire. So from this time onwards, 4th century, there is no more persecution. So for the longest time, the people thought to be holy is to be martyred, to be killed for the faith. Now you are no longer killed because of your faith. Then how to be holy? So a lot of some men they decided, okay, to be holy you must do self-mortification. Self-mortification, they did it by going to the desert, live like very poor, hungry, live very simply, like basically make himself suffer, and then basically trying to suffer like Christ. So this is the start of monks. So about 4th, 5th century, monks starts. So to be religious, basically, monks to be they try to be holy. So monks starts all the way until about 12th century. 12th century, it is important because all this while being religious means being monks or being nuns. Even the female also, they are cloistered. 12th century is Saint Francis and Saint Dominic. These are the two people who emerged in the 12th and 13th century. They are actually about the same time. So they are like counterparts. Saint Dominic, any religious order, right? It is never meant to be an order. Oh, I want to create congregation, I want to register NGO, that kind of thing. No, it never like that. It always started as I want to live this way. It is kind of like the movement that I want to live this way. So for Saint Dominic, it was they are called Dominicans are called Order of Preacher. The Order of Preacher, they are responding to the many heretics at that time. So Albigensians, and then like a lot of people say wrong things about Christianity. So Saint Dominic wants to help the church to fight these heresies. So that's why they are Order of Preacher. While Saint Francis had no idea about religious life. He just want to live like Christ. So that's why he just for Dominican, when the order developed, they are seeking truth, and then they find God in truth. That's why seeking knowledge is very important for them. For Francis, he is not into study. A lot of people who join Franciscans, right, they are not the smartest people, including me. So, but Saint Francis just wants to be like Christ. For him, he is so inspired by Christ because he is God, but he became so poor by being a human. That is the humility of God for him. That's why for him it is so important, the concept of poverty, because it's like to let go your own status, to let go your own who you are to be lower. So for Saint Francis, the poverty is in that sense of poverty. Like he didn't claim to be God, but he wants to be with us. And that's why for Franciscans, incarnation is very important. That God became human. Christmas is even important than Easter for Franciscans, because by being incarnated, God already saved the world, with or without crucifixion. Kind of thing, yeah. But the theology is much more than that. We don't have time for that. So after this, then it comes like the Jesuit, and then the Carmelites also along the way, and then like so all orders come after this. So in the world, there are only 5 rules that are approved by the church, and no other rules can be added. So the rules are the Augustinian rule. They are monks, and then Benedictines also monks, and then Anselm, and then I think Basil, and the 5th one is Franciscan. Franciscan was the last one, and then no more, Pope said at that time. So that's why. Sorry.
Sorry, can you repeat again the names?
I think this one I'm not sure, but I think I'm 90% sure. Just remember ABBA, Abba, Augustine, Basil, Benedictine, and Anselm. Anselm or Albert, one of them. Then the last one is Franciscan. So yeah, that's why, because of this only 5 approved, right? You cannot add any more. That's why in the world there are a lot of orders, congregation. They take Franciscan as their rules. That's why we have Franciscan Sisters of Missionary of Mary. We have FMDM. The number of the the order of sisters and other order taking the rules of Saint Francis, if I'm not mistaken, it's more than 10,000. So we don't even know how many are there in the world. Yeah, so basically, every congregation, every movement is always responding to what happened in the society. So, to live life like mendicant, poor, Saint Francis was not the first, but Saint Francis was the first to live that way, but decided to be obedient to Pope. He didn't want to leave the church. Many people, at this time, the church was very powerful. The leaders of the church is the leaders of the society. The law of the society is the law of the church. So bishop was not only doing church stuff, also bishop also doing leading the society. So they are very rich, very powerful. So Saint Francis was is the opposite. He's showing the other side. But a lot of people decided to leave the church, but Saint Francis remained in the church. I guess that's the main difference. So in terms of being poor and serving the poor, he was not the first. Yeah, so basically that's a very short introduction to religious life. So I haven't mentioned any priesthood yet. So religious life is about adopting a way of life. It's taking up identity. So I'm a Franciscan, I'm a Jesuit, I'm a Carmelite. Priesthood is almost a kind of profession. It's like I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer. So it is for priesthood, they are anointed to serve the people of God. Mainly, like for example, to be the instrument for sacraments, to be the representative of Christ for people in the world. That's why for religious, they are called to be religious. So for men, we call it religious brothers. For female sisters, but for the brothers, some of them decided to be priests, so become religious priests. Some of them decided I would remain a brother, so they are brothers. But all of us, for example, when I'm at home, we are all brothers. I don't care whether you are Father John Paul or Father who. I just call him, hey John Paul, like that. He is my brother. Yeah. So it's like that. So religious life is almost like marriage. That's the state of life that you take on, the way of life. But when we take our solemn vow, our final vow, it's like we are getting married. This is forever. The priesthood, the ordination, is like convocation. So after this, you can work, you can serve as a priest. But for this one, I take my final vow. For the society, there's no change. It's like when you get married, it's not that you can work for something. Yes. So I understand the difference between religious life and priesthood, right? Okay. So that's one thing. Before we move on to the next one, can we have the papers? Can we just, each of us?
Wonderful.
No one is done?
We will do a quick exercise. I don't want you to think too hard. What comes to your mind, just right, just right, just right. And we will do this only 5 minutes. Okay. So, I'm giving you a scenario. So, as I said, what came to your mind, just right. For 5 minutes. So, you come to see me, I'm a doctor, specialist. And I said, oh, bad news. You had cancer. You only have 1 year left in your life. Right? Your 1 year plan. How are you going to live your life before you die?
Whisper me something.
I only have 5 minutes.
Yes. Can write chronologically, can write based on priority.
Mod 1, 2, 3. One more minute. It's okay, it's not exam. Can we just have a quick sharing? If you're not comfortable, it's okay. You don't have to. But if you are comfortable and one would like to share with you right now, you have 1 more year. What are you going to do?
First, I will resign from my job, and then I will arrange to go holiday with family. I'll go to places I've never been before, so maybe like US or like those that I've never reached before. And then after we come back from holiday, then bring my family from Indonesia to Singapore so they're with me for the rest of the 1 year. And then after that, I will plan to start sorting my things, and then those that I donate, I give to the needy, so that at least my property come to a good use. Then after that, I will, like, I want to volunteer, maybe to be to teach people, maybe also write a book to share my knowledge before I pass away, and then I try to spend more time with God to ask for miracles. Go for retreat and ask for healing. And maybe also like to continue service and to share whatever I can before I go.
That's a very busy one year, considering you are ill. Anybody else?
For me, I think realistically, I think the last few months I'll be too ill to do anything. So I try to make it chronologically. So I probably spend the first few months like as if there's nothing going on. I'll still work as usual. Probably I won't do anything. But then like getting into like month 6, I will resign. I will make a more detailed plan, more than this 5 minutes plan. I will take care of my admin stuff like my bill, like who will I pass money to, like maybe I do donation. I'm also thinking of traveling with my family and friends, very important ones. And lastly, I will do confession.
Next.
I will cry my eyes out first. I will quit my job. I will go for healing session. I will go for confession. I will be a good person. I will say sorry to people who I may have hurt. I will spend more time with my family and friends. I will write a journal about my life. Then I will go for mass every day if I have the energy. I will receive Eucharist every day if I still can follow. If I will forgive people who I have not forgiven. Then I will write letters for the people whom I love. And they are going to operate after I die. You're so dumb.
Great.
First, I will make use of my company's medical care. I will take all the leave I have from my company. I travel to the rest of the world I have never done so. Then I quit my job after a proper offer, of course. Then I find everyone and I apologize to all that I have made fault to. And I pray to God that He gives me strength every day. Help anyone who needs help as I can. Then I go for confession, write my wills, and I go alone and die peacefully.
Maybe.
Okay, somehow there is no resigning job. I don't know why. Okay, I think the first thing that I write is to travel to Holy Land with my family. Number 2, get my driving license. Or at least I can drive a car, like just one time chance. Take goal. Number 3, I want to do praise and worship every day and make a YouTube channel or Instagram live to encourage people to praise God with music together with me. And then number 4, I want to donate some of my assets to make a charity event for abused women and children in Singapore and Indonesia. Then I hope I can give them like free counseling session, then free concert and free food. Yeah, this is so big. Yeah, then I plan to plan a wheel, write a wheel. Then the last one is to eat xiao long bao on xiao long bao is my favorite food. Yeah, I want to eat it with my family and my beloved friends.
Parents. Yeah.
Do you want to share?
No, but if you don't feel comfortable, it's okay.
Okay, fine. Most people just catch up with family and friends. Just play as much as possible. Okay. Maybe ideally go back to America. Yeah, I've been wanting to go back, but yeah. Just make sure things are in order, like what you mentioned, right? Yeah, just make sure that everything is tidied up as much as possible. Maybe even plan for the funeral. Tell them you better pay highway to hell or another one vice versa. Then it's just continue living life as per normal instead of worrying so much that we're going to die. And I didn't put anything about God there because I think I'll be talking to God every day. Like more of like, I guess it would be nice to see some people who have wanted before they do. And yeah, when I'm there, I don't need to worry about this bit of this life sucks. Eternal life is much better. So unless I go to hell now, then let's also just treat myself like eat whatever nonsense. I don't know. Yeah, maybe just it's quite general. Yeah, most people.
For me, write out our goal, then spend time with my family, then live a holy life of example, like going to mass activity and not only just activity.
For me, traveling while still I can move, then catch up with my loved ones and go to church and meditation.
Do you realize what is the common thing in your sharing?
Family and
One, family and friends. And most of you would like to go traveling.
Traveling.
No, it shows something that is very important in our lives, It's like, one is relationship. Most of you would like to have a peaceful death, at least reconcile with the people, and then forgive and being forgiven. And then you want to travel the world. Can you have any idea why you want to travel the world actually?
Maybe want to see what we have not seen. Huh?
Yeah, you can just watch YouTube and then I think underlying all these desires, right, is what we believe. I mean, in terms of church teaching, we believe God plants the desire in all of us. Any good desires actually comes from God, and then that desire to see the world, to see something beyond. Because deep down in our hearts, we actually believe there's something beyond us, beyond the great Singapore, beyond the it's like you go to the top of the mountain to say, wow, this is the grandeur. There's something beyond me. There's something beyond what I know and there's something beyond about this life, and that's God. And that shows how much we are seeking God in our lives. And I think we have been sometimes educated or informed that to seek God is to go find God only in the Blessed Sacrament, only in the church, only like doing ritual in the religions, that kind of thing. But I think if you realize, if God is good and we can find God in the world, it is actually inside whatever you write. Seriously, like if you have 1 year left, because in that relationship, God is present. In that nature, in that whatever you experience outside, overseas, the joy, the adrenaline, God is there. It is something that we sometimes just miss out because we thought, man, this is the enjoyment of the world. But we sometimes forget that God is present in that world in the first place. So yeah, maybe the next question I would like to ask you, because the theme is YOLO, right? You only live once, right? How do you know you have 1 year? Maybe only 3 months. No, my question is like this: if that is your 1 year plan, when do you plan to start doing it? It's not that you have to quit your
This
job.
one
You want
today.
No, but it is about being responsible also. Because in the end, right, I would like to go into the topic of religious life. Religious life is actually nothing but living your baptismal vow intensely. We are not like, as I shared, being a religious brother or sister, it is our way of life. It is not that you are given the authority to give sacraments. It is priesthood. But to live in a way that we want to be like God. We want to be one with God. The comparison for me between religious life and married life is very hand in hand. If you are married, you like who are married here, only Irma and Bobby, is it? I think you are supposed to find God in each other. You are supposed to find God in your union. For religious, yes, we are supposed to find God in our. We are supposed to try to be in union with God directly without like being in union with another person. So both are difficult because God is invisible, and sometimes also you cannot find God in Him, and He cannot find God in you. And I think that's our journey, that we always fall short in this world. That is something that we have to realize. And our journey in the world is going towards that perfection. And when we are in that level of perfection, only then we will be truly happy. We will truly be joyful, and that happens only when we are in heaven with God. So in this world, we have to realize that a lot of things will not be perfect. Marriage will not be perfect. Being religious will not be perfectly holy as we thought. Yeah, but any questions so far about? Yeah, I would say religious life is nothing. It's basically living your baptismal vow intensely. We are not changed into like someone with superpower or anything. Yeah, but it's just a free choice that you make. Any question at this point? It's like if the question, I read the questions, like how are you sure that you are called? It is the same question, how are you called? How are you sure that you are called to marry him?
Am I sure or not? So I think God direct the path, like we met and then we find chemistry with each other, and when I feel peace and then we can grow together, and that's where I realized that we actually have strengths and weaknesses where we complement, like we kind of like, okay, this is his weaknesses, actually I can help, and then my weaknesses he can also help. So I think it's kind of like, I felt that, okay, I think together we can bear fruit in the world, and I think that's where
I think, yeah, thank you for sharing. I think answering the vocation call, vocation doesn't mean only religious priesthood. Marriage is a vocation, singlehood is a vocation. But answering vocation from God is to respond to God's invitation, to taking up responsibility where you start to live for the other. So if you decide you want to join religious, it is because you want to live for the other, for the sake of the people of God, to serve the people who are marginalized, to serve the people who are suffering. When you get married, yes, I mean, of course the attraction is like, oh, because he is the person or she is the one for me, that kind of thing. But in the end, I believe when you get married, it's not about me anymore, it's about us, about what we can do for the family. Right? Am I right? I've not experienced that. Then, yeah, I think even singlehood, when you take up, I would like to be single. And I think that some of the questions that Obi sent me is like, how are you sure that joining religious is not running away from responsibilities? It's not. I think we must take a look of our intention. If it is about me, most probably it is wrong. Even marriage, in the eyes of the church, marriage is not equal with love. Love is about, oh, I love you, I want you to be happy, I want you to be the best person you can be. Marriage is not just like that. Marriage and love are different. That was love, to desire the goodness in the other. But marriage for the church is a service. Marriage is a service to build the society. That's why church actually is okay with arranged marriage, as long as the man and the woman freely accept it. The freedom is very important. So we must remember, you join religious order because you want to serve. Because life is not about me. It's about building relationships, about healing the broken relationships. Because in the end, right, what makes us happy is our relationship. What will make us die peacefully when you have a peaceful relationship with people around us. Yeah, so yeah, I guess it is the concept of the life is not for me, it is for service of the others. Including, I am called to, I think God wants me to go adoration every day. My question is the adoration for yourself or for the other? If the adoration, I give you example like this. If Toby goes to adoration every day to talk to God, to build that relationship, to talk to Him, to make sense of his relationship with Irma, when they quarrel, he needs to make sense of this logic that Irma has, or whatever it is, then the adoration is meant to be. But if the adoration is just to fulfill my self-image, if to fulfill my, whatever selfish reason, I think that's not meant to be. And then I think we don't have to feel like, a good Catholic must receive the Holy Eucharist every day. A good Catholic must go adoration every day. I think when we are in the world, we are meant to be in the world. When you have family, I cannot say, Irma, sorry, I will not have dinner with you because I'll go for adoration. That kind of thing. Because we must remember that we are called in different ways. And that's how we are called to serve, to love. And so, I hope I answered that question, that to join religious is not to run away. Because it's the same thing, to get married also you can run away from pressure from the society. And joining religious is not the last choice. It is as sad as, for example, I marry you because no other men like it will hurt both parties, I think. So it must have the freedom why I choose this way of life. And because our God is God of love, and for love to be loved, it must be free. If not free, then it's not love.
I would like to know, since when you actually, sense that there's a calling to religious life, and how you actually, of course you need to tell your families, parents, and how your parents actually react to that, how your family react to that, and how do you handle the situation then? Let's say they don't approve.
I would share my vocation story. Then any of you heard before? Okay. I was born in a Buddhist Taoist family in Indonesia, so we were kind of like financially we are okay, just like normal family lah. Typical Chinese family in Indonesia, where the father is busy making money and the mother housewife, and then we were sent to Catholic schools because the Catholic schools in Indonesia are the top schools. So that's how I grew up. I was in Taoist, but my concept of God is always Christian God, because in Indonesia religion is part of the subjects in school. So I grew up as per normal, I think generally, but when I was 10, my father passed away. He passed away because of a heart problem. He had been ill for about a year, but he has always been keeping to himself. He was stressed, like hypertension, all the diseases come together. But so when he passed away with the situation that he was bankrupt. He sold our house. So when he died, we had nothing. I have 4 elder sisters. I was the youngest. Because my family, Chinese family, they long to have a son to carry the name, and now I'm here. Yeah, so our family became from okay, well-to-do, suddenly become poor. From I lived in a 5-story shop house, suddenly we rented a small house. So for me, it was a struggle that from well-to-do becoming like very poor. My self-esteem dropped like just like that. I was ashamed of myself. Somehow with the death of my dad, I lost the identity in me. I was ashamed of my mom because we were poor, and I was in school where good schools you always have the pressure from the people around you. Generally, they are well-to-do financially also. So it was a struggle. But because of that struggle, I recompensated by being an overachiever. I did very well in school. I became the perfect poster boy because just to show people that I'm not less than you. But inside me, I was very angry. So my family somehow survived with the help of relatives, and then somehow my sisters and I, we did well in school. My sister always got a scholarship. I also always have that kind of grace from God to be doing well in school. So when I get the chance to apply to NTU, I saw it as the opportunity to be rich. I hated myself for being poor in Indonesia. So and I didn't go to church because God told my father, our family was poor. Where is he? I went to church to listen to the mass, and then Jesus promised this, and I said, yeah, bullshit. What promises that? That's how I grew up. And then I came to Singapore. It was the first time I had no family, I didn't know anyone, I couldn't speak English, and then suddenly I felt stupid. I was not the smartest boy in the class anymore, that kind of feeling, and then feeling very down. I was very lucky. The people who were around me and became my best friend, one of them was Oka. So we were best friends in university. So we stayed over in each other's room, that kind of thing. So from there, I started to go to church and then found my faith. And then I joined RCIA. So I was attracted by this priest. He is Father Clifford in St. Mary's. I know he's rude, he's not nice. No, but somehow I saw he loved God. There's something in him that I didn't dare to speak to him. I attended the RCIA, but I never spoke to him, but I just admire him. So I think that was the first interest that I had. But again, I just continued to study. I graduated and started working. And then once I saw the money, it feels nice, right? With the money, suddenly I can buy anything I want. I can eat anywhere I want. And then go holiday. That kind of thing. Because with a degree in Singapore, you can do a lot of things, I think, with the money. So it was a happy moment for about 2 years. After 2 years, I felt emptiness. It's like I thought I came from Indonesia to Singapore to be rich, and then I had everything in my life. How come I'm not happy? I felt betrayed by my own dream. But at the same time, to my family in Indonesia, I must again show the perfect me. That in Singapore, I am happy, that life is beautiful, but I'm struggling here. Struggling with loneliness, struggling with finding meaning. So that was the beginning of my thought of what is this? I thought life would be happy with the money, but money didn't bring me any happiness. So short story, 2009, I was diagnosed with cancer. So what I asked you to do, it was a real story for me. I was diagnosed with the cancer with the possibility of 1 year left. So my plan is exactly like you, 3 months holiday with friends in Singapore, traveling around the world, and then 3 months traveling with my family, and then I said the last 6 months I would like to die peacefully, I would like to be with God. I will stay in a monastery, I said. I said monastery would accept sick men. Yeah, so I said the last 6 months I would stay in monastery and I will die quietly away from people. But it was a miracle. I didn't have to do the surgery. I didn't have to cut my liver. Basically, it was a miracle. Then I thought of like, oh, second chance of life. If that is my plan for the last year of my life, what am I waiting for? Just like your theme is like Yolo is like, yeah, what am I waiting for? If the last 6 months of my life I want to stay in monastery, then why am I still working outside and then do a lot of things and I couldn't find any meaning? I was active in church. I was doing this, I was doing that in youth office in St. Mary's at that time. But I couldn't, still something is missing in my life. So yeah, in the end I decided, not in the end, decided to try religious just like that. It took me about 5 years. I joined only in 2014. The decision was made in 2012. So it was a struggle because I had a good career. By the time I left my job, I was a manager. I just bought my HDB. I just converted to be Singaporean. I converted to be Singaporean for the sake of career. I worked in government stat board. So the HR director said, if you want to progress, you must be Singaporean. You cannot stay PR. So I converted to be Singaporean. So everything was done for career, to settle down in Singapore, and then to have a happy family. Even when I bought the HDB, I didn't deco anything. It was very plain and minimum furniture because the dream is to decorate together with my wife. So in the end, when I decided to, okay, I'll join because there was a